Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. It's continued to be cold this week, so I took the opportunity to prune my roses. I have a couple of rose bushes just outside the house, so I gave them a good solid prune just to get them to a nice shape and hopefully to make them flower really beautifully during summer. All of the green branches that I pruned were given to the goats because they love roses. I think it must be sweet, even like the bits with the thorns and everything. They just really, really enjoy to munch down on some of those. While I was doing that pruning, I also noticed that the bulbs that I'd planted in autumn have now begun to sprout up, which is quite exciting. I'm not even sure what kind of bulbs they are. We were doing some weeding down our old driveway and they had sort of been pulled out and were up on the surface. So we moved them into the garden by the house. So it will be fun to see what flowers start to appear. We spent time this week collecting more firewood. We've been having the fire pumping these last few nights. It's been super cold. Not as much cloud, and so really very cold in the evenings. We collected a big trailer load as well as filling the back of the ute. We found a tree that was sort of leaning down across the track that we used to get up to the top of the hill. It was kind of stuck in between another tree, and at any moment it was going to fall, and then we were not going to be able to use our track. So we lopped that down and used all of that for firewood as well. So we have lots of fresh, really dry, old wood. So it's burning really slow and hot, which is really, really nice. And I also have some exciting news. Well, actually, a couple of bits of exciting news. I've made a last minute plan to go to the Australian Sheep and Wool Show this weekend. So I will be there on Sunday, the day that this video goes live. So if you're watching now and you are going to the sheep show on the Sunday, I'd love to see you. So if I run into you, please say hi. I'm so excited to be going. I didn't think that I was going to be able to, and it's been obviously years since anyone has been able to go. So I'm really looking forward to catching up with a lot of people that I know, eating the beautiful food that they have there, checking out all of the sheep displays, seeing if there's anything I can learn about looking after Hurley, Vito, and Evie, and also to check out all of the wonderful makers and stall holders. I don't know that I'm going to buy anything. Normally I have quite a bit of a plan going into Bendigo. I have looked at patterns and I've taken down notes about yardage and all that kind of thing. I think this is going to be a little bit more ad hoc and a little bit more just what I feel like at the time. So I'm really excited to be going and to be seeing all of the wonderful things that are going to be there. So next week I can share with you how it went on the Sunday and also if I bought anything. My other exciting news is that I've booked myself a holiday for January. It feels like a really long way away right now, but I think it will come around pretty quick. It's been since the end of 2019 that I've been properly away, and that was when we went to Japan. And this will be the first holiday that I'm taking by myself. And I'm actually really, really looking forward to it. It is a cruise, partially run by Unwind Craft Cafe. So it will be knitting and chatting about craft and eating and drinking and doing all of the on-ship activities and doing things on shore. And I've never been cruising before, so I'm a little bit hesitant about it, but it just seems like it's going to be a really good holiday for me. It'll be literally turning off from everything else and getting to just do nothing or everything, whatever I want to do. Everything is included, so it'll be super easy. So literally all I have to do or want to do can be sit and knit or not, and just really, really just turn off and relax. So that's something that I'm looking forward to for the start of next year. I've finally finished labeling all of my sock yarn that I've dyed over the past month. the labeling bit just takes so long, and it's not the fun part. So, to be honest, I was procrastinating over it, but it is now done. Everything is up in the shop and listed. And also this week, I spent some time getting ready for my next sock class, which is this Saturday at Unwind. Had to get new handouts printed and templates done and more yarn wound down for that. And I've got a huge selection of sock yarn that is going to be available to buy for that as well. And that will be happening for the next couple of months at Unwind. Their August sock classes are sold out already, but there are listings for the September and October sock classes. So if you're in Melbourne and you would like to learn to knit socks with me, I will leave a link below to their tickets page where you can find out all the information about those classes. And I did some dyeing this week as well. I've dyed up some DK yarn, and I've done it in the same style as the yarn that I've done for my Douglas cardigan. I did a rusty orange kind of color and a green. I'm really happy with how they've both turned out. I also experimented with doing a brown for Mary from Wow Crochet. She contacted me this week. She has already bought from me some flowering gum colorway, which is a red, and she would like a more neutral plain color to go with it for a project. So I have so she sent me a color palette slide of the color she was thinking about, and I have experimented with getting that color dyed for her, and I think I've done a pretty good job at it. It's definitely along the same lines as the color that she sent me. So I'm hoping that it will be dry very soon, and I can put it next to a skein of flowering gum and send it to her and see what she thinks. I also did one very unique skein. When I empty my dye powder pots, I put them aside and wait until I have quite a few of them. And then I put a little bit of hot water in them, shake them up, and get every little last bit of dye out of those. I just can't bear to leave any dye powder left behind. So I put one skein into a pot with very shallow water. I mixed up all of these little pots with the little specks of dye that were still in there, and I just poured the color over sections of the yarn. So I have this completely unique, never to be repeated, have no idea about proportions or colors or whatever. It was literally just like pour it into the pot, and it's come up looking really cool. It is drying as well, so next week I should have it dry to show you. It will probably become like a small project for me, maybe a beanie or mitts, or I will break it down into some mini skeins and it will be used for my sock classes at Unwind, because I kind of use my one-of-a-kind single skeins to then take for that, so that they get used up and the people at the classes get to experience my yarn and my colours. This week I'm wearing the Bloom Shawl by Kerry Fitzgerald that I knit back in 2015 from yarn that I bought at the Bendigo Sheep and Wool Show. Both skeins are from Colleen's Crafts. I do love her colours and I do love her yarn, so I will definitely be visiting her again this year while I'm there. The bloom motif in the middle is now what I use for knitting all of my sample colours, because I just love it so much. It's just a more interesting, different square pattern, because I'm thinking one day that all of those will be connected together to make a grand blanket of all of my passion flower colorways. It is a triangle with sort of wings that come out, and is lovely and big. It is a thick DK shawl, so it is nice and warm. And I love teal, and this is like a charcoal grey black, so they're just lovely colors together. It was an awesome knit. I really enjoyed making this shawl. It knitted up really quickly, and as I said, I still love to make that middle motif on sock yarn for my sample squares. But I haven't worn this for a really long time. It was nice to get it out of the cupboard. As I was thinking about the sheep show, this one sprung to mind as something that I should pop on today. I turned the heel on my first opal hearted sock. I've got the heel in, I'm almost at the point where I think I'm going to call it done for the cuff. A little bit more maybe. Still haven't decided if I'm going to do some ribbing or if I am just going to just bind off. Oh, I've just noticed a weird dropped stitch there. So I'm going to have to drop down at that corner and fix that. But yeah, so these are on the go, and I'll be starting the second one shortly, maybe even this weekend. And I feel like I'm making excruciatingly slow progress on my Douglas cardigan. Sleeves take forever. And I figured out what it is. There's a couple of reasons. Well, actually, more than a couple. So, as I told you last week, I had picked up the wrong number of stitches. So I'd already knit quite a bit and then ripped it back. So there's that. Then, with the whole body of the cardigan knit, there's a lot to move around to knit in the round. So you're kind of maneuvering the yarn and the cardigan and the sleeve, and you can't just go knitting in the round. It's much harder to move everything. The other thing is that because it's the first sleeve, I pause all the time, put it on a longer cable so that I can try it on, so I can get the right length. And I've been messing around with the pattern with this. I have changed the frequency of the decreases and the amount of decreases that were done. So it's a much looser fitting sleeve than the pattern calls for. I didn't decrease as much, but I had to keep trying it on to make sure that it felt right for me. So hopefully the second sleeve will go a lot quicker, because now I just have to follow my notes from the first sleeve and not continually put it on and see if it fits. So I have completely finished the first sleeve. I had started the second sleeve, but I forgot to change the needles back from the ribbing needles to the body size needles. So I've ripped that back and I have to re-pick up stitches. So at the moment it is literally just one sleeve. So here is my sleeve all done. It fits really beautifully. It comes down to about there on my wrist. It pulls in really good with the ribbing. As I said, I've made the sleeve a little bit wider than the pattern called for, but I do like to push my sleeves up a lot of the time. So I like to have a bit more room in the bottom of the sleeve so that I can do that and get it up to my elbow when I push it up. So I think this afternoon we'll be picking up the stitches for the second sleeve with the correct needle this time and getting started on that. I've got a little bit more of the ball that I knit this side with, so it will match in with the top of the cardigan and this sleeve opening here, and then I'll transition into another ball. I have 2 balls left, so that should be enough to get my sleeve done and also to get the full collar done as well. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.